Here's what I'm serving up for the bass. It's been really warm here in Massachusetts the last few days, so our lakes and ponds are starting to thaw and I'm starting to see some pockets of open water. So these are the baits that I'm gonna be throwing on my first trip out. And make sure to stick around to the end because I'm gonna show you exactly where I'm gonna be throwing these baits on a map. First course is always going to be a jerkbait. There's two ways I'm going to fish this. One is going to be covering water. I'm going to cast it. Instead of jerking our jerkbait like you're supposed to, I'm just going to give a slow retrieve. And all that jerkbait's going to do, it's going to get down to its maximum depth and just do a slight roll. In that same vein, we can either go to a small paddle tail or I will be mid-strolling this time of year. Same places where you throw that jerkbait, but just checking different areas, making a lot of casts, looking for those first bites. And finally, if you know where the bass are, or if you find some drop-offs where the bass are going to be posting up on, a jig is always a great option this time of the year. Letting this jig go from shallow to deep water on a drop-off, just letting it slowly hop down, it's a great way to find more bass. But let me show you where I'm casting these baits in FishBrain. So here we are in FishBrain. All these green dots are different catches from other anglers. Actually, some of my catches are in here as well, but I'm actually going to turn these catches off real quick because I want to show you the kinds of areas that I'm looking for. So right now in the spring, the biggest thing we're looking for is areas that go from shallow water. So back here, as you can see, it's 1 foot. This whole back cut is about 1 foot to 6 foot, and then it'll drop off to about 9 foot, and then it'll go off to 20 feet here. Now the big thing that we're looking for is, depending on how warm the water is or how active the bass are, they may be pushed all the way back up into the shallow area. This is where I'll be checking was the jerkbait or the paddle tail or the mid-stroll. Fishing shallow, looking for bass there. If I don't see them there, then I'm going to take those baits and I'm going to fish this transition area where it goes from 7, 8, 9 and it gets deeper and see if the bass are here. I'm going to fish this area because this is a great place that if the water gets colder all of a sudden, they'll go right back to deeper water because it's close, or they'll go back up shallow. And again, looking for those shallow to deep water transition areas, it goes from 19 feet all the way to 2 feet. This is a shallow cut back here that I catch a lot of bass in. However, most likely the bass are going to be in this area where it goes from 9 to 6 feet. Looking for those transition areas. When there's a lot of sun and it's warmer, the bass will pull up shallow. But when it's colder or in the night, they'll kind of pull back to this 10 feet area so that they can stay in more stable water. If you have any go-to early spring baits, leave them in the comments or share this video with someone that needs help looking for spring bass. So what are you waiting for? Get out there.